I don't know about you, but I'm a big fan of green in all its forms. Get it? And for fellow lovers of, well, green, the Club Random merch store has you covered. Grinders, papers, and Zippo lighters, all designed to support your relationship with green, wink, wink, whatever, and whatever philosophy comes with that for you. Head to clubrandom.com and bring home some random. Everyone has something they want to put out into the world, a business, a side hustle, a passion project, a thought they swear is worth sharing. Squarespace is the part where that actually becomes real. So stop waiting for the right time. Go to squarespace.com/clubrandom for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code CLUBRANDOM to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Squarespace, make your idea look like it belongs. It's February, it's cold, you're tired, but you're still trying to be healthy this year. Make your life easier and sign up with Factor, fully prepared meals designed by dietitians, made by chefs, and ready before you can talk yourself into ordering takeout. Head to factormeals.com/random50off and use code random50off to get 50% off and free breakfast for a year. New subscribers only, varies by plan. One free breakfast item per box for 1 year while subscription is active. Car Shield helps cover expensive car repairs and connects you with ASE certified mechanics nationwide. They've got 24/7 roadside assistance, courtesy towing, even rental car options. So when your car gives up on life, you don't have to. Because surprises are great at birthday parties, less so on the freeway. Make a decision your wallet will love with Car Shield. Right now, Car Shield is offering our listeners 20% off with the code RANDOM at carshield.com.
Well, she was going out with the electric cars, and then she got the Dodge Ram. And now she's happy.
Club Random.
I saw Roots with my mom.
Wait, I thought your mom was never there. And now you watch Roots
No.
with her? I didn't watch Roots with my
Club
mom.
Random.
Guest number one. Remember, always when you're on like the Tonight Show, the cup always had like guest number one on it. How are you, pal?
Good to see you, brother.
How you doing?
I'm doing well.
I hear all about you. Your show's better than ever. You're getting your walk on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Your divorce went through. You must be on cloud 9.
It's good. Look, it's a pendulum, and it's either coming down or it's heading up. Like, you know, the business, and it's been heading up for the last short period of time.
But
and
sometimes,
it feels good.
but sometimes one part of your life is going great and the other isn't. I certainly have had that situation.
Yeah.
Where, like, I remember when I was in my early mid-30s, you know, I was in a very successful relationship, but my career had taken that dip.
Right.
You know, the worst part of a career, a comic, two really bad parts. One, when you start, that's really tough, like first year or two.
Yeah.
And then there's like, oh, you think you're on your way.
Right.
You know, you do a couple of sitcoms, it's like, and then there's that like, not so fast.
Yeah, no, it is weird. Like, I got out of the gate, the first two shows I really did, which was Loveline on MTV and then The Man Show on Comedy Central. Yeah. Both of them were destined for other networks. Loveline was supposed to be a syndicated show, and The Man Show was a pilot from ABC, and they didn't get picked up, but they both ended up on MTV and then ended up on Comedy Central, and that was my first two endeavors. So I was like, oh, this is so easy. You know, it just, by the way, if the first network doesn't pick you up, the second one does. And it just all came so quickly and so easily. Yeah. And then I realized at some point, oh no, it's a slog, it's a struggle, there's lots of setbacks, and that's the way it goes.
Even Frank Sinatra, you know, maybe the greatest career, or certainly among the top 5, who was like a giant phenomenon of a star, like Justin Bieber at his peak, whatever that was. Harry Styles today. In 1939, early 40s, the war years, Bobby Soxers, just people screaming, lines around the block, just like, and then you go to 1950, couldn't get arrested. That's the subplot of The Godfather, the movie plot. Like Johnny Fontaine never gets this part. Right. That was Sinatra. Supposedly, you know, Sinatra had the same story. Somebody had to threaten the band leader to get him out of his contract.
You know, it's kind of sad that guys like Elvis weren't alive to see the ascension, the second. You know what I mean? Like when Elvis died, he was kind of a joke, and everyone wanted to see Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and not your dad's fat guy with his suit on and stuff like that.
There's a picture of him right over there.
Oh, sorry, King.
And he's not.
No, but what I'm
he's
saying,
not fat.
What I'm saying is my daughter and her friends saw the Elvis movie 19 times. You know, they don't. Elvis didn't get to see his movie. Yeah, they loved it.
They loved the Baz Luhrmann movie.
Yes, and what I'm saying is nobody was bigger than Elvis, and then Elvis became a sort of parody of himself and was sort of on the decline and gained the weight, the drugs and everything else, and then he died. He didn't get to then swing back and experience this resurrection.
He did, not in your liberal bubble, Adam, but he had a very brief period where he was the thing. That's 1956 until he goes into the Army in really just a couple of years. Then he went into the Army. When he came out of the Army, that fucking criminal immigrant, illegal immigrant, who was his manager.
The Colonel Tom Parker.
Thank you. Yes, let's name him. Mm-hmm. He's very famous.
Yes.
He kept him in this sort of indentured servitude. Elvis, with all his psychological problems and mommy and daddy issues and all this stuff, and he just couldn't break away from this guy. So he kept him in the movies, you know, these what Elvis called travelogues. They're all the same: Clam Bake and Speedway, and like forgettable songs, and because most of the country, not your liberal bubble, Adam.
I do hang out with those people.
Was
Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and Neil Young.
Was still going to see Elvis movies.
Yeah, I get it. I guess you know what I say when I interview an athlete or anybody, who had great success or was a Super Bowl MVP or something like that, I always ask them, was your dad around to see it? You know what I mean? Because it's poignant to me.
Poignant to me because my dad wasn't.
Around to see you win the Super Bowl?
No, basically in life.
Because, right. No, sorry I'm not kidding around, but you're a very successful guy. You've made quite an impact on society, and any father would go, oh my God,
but
this would be
especially
great.
Because my father was a newsman and a funny guy, and I'm a funny guy who made it successfully talking about the news. So it would have been different if I went into the soft ice cream business and was a giant success. But the fact that I sort of followed where he was heading, I think would have been very poignant.
But when he died, you were dealing weed and eating top ramen, and that's his last memory of you, right?
No, basically. He saw me do the Tonight Show, but he died just before Politically Incorrect went on, which would have been the perfect thing for him to see. And I wish I was one of those people who could say, well, but he's watching from upstairs. But unfortunately, he's not upstairs, he's dead.
Well, if it's any consolation, my dad made it all the way through my career and still didn't give a shit. So
really?
Yes. Never a thing. Never had cable, never knew what I was doing. So
why is that?
I don't know how it works, but my mom and my dad somehow found each other, like the two parents who care the least. Maybe it was some sort of symposium for potential parents who didn't care. But neither one of them ever had cable. They never knew what I was up to. They never had any interest, and were not there to see any of it.
And what about childhood? Same deal?
Yeah. I'll tell you something about disappointers. They never disappoint. They're always who they are.
Right.
It's never like, oh no, my mom was the best, and then lost total interest, in me once I got into show business.
So they were together and there when you were a kid, but just not interested in you.
They had kids and didn't know it, but were there. You know what I mean?
But wasn't that sort of good sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, in general, you get a very realistic version of the world. You know what I mean? Like nobody's gonna hop out and make you dinner and make you breakfast and tuck you in and sort of take care of you. Like it was like, it gives you, when your parents, and especially mom, aren't big fans and don't do a lot, you get really independent really fast, and you get a very sober version of the world and how you fit into it, and is anyone going to do anything for you, or you're going to have to sort of take care of your own stuff? Like, there's a version of it where the mom dotes over the little prince and he can do no wrong, and those guys get ruined because they show up in the real world expecting to have rose petals thrown down at their feet, and they get disappointed another direction. So, like, it is good in terms of getting independent and getting realistic. It doesn't make for a great childhood, but it's like,
No.
it's good. It's good training.
Not to make everything political, and we sure don't want to do that, but it does to me, when I hear stories like this, and you hear them all the time, just make me more angry at the Democrats for going so in on identity politics, because life is such a unpredictable mishmash of advantages and disadvantages. It's so simplistic to say, well, because your race, because your religion, because whatever this thing you identify, that is what is the defining thing in America. No, these are the kind of things that are very often the defining thing in America. Your parents sucked. Now, that could have made you a giant failure. I've seen it work that way. And I've seen it work the other way, where it makes you work harder and be better and somehow get further maybe than you would have if they weren't shitty. So to reduce life to those kind of simplistic boxes, I think is so crazy, because, who knows who you would be or what you would be if your parents had been different.
I mean, for me, and also, I was poor and I was sort of rudderless, and I was a bad student. I didn't go to college and so on and so forth. And the economy was bad. And it was, when I graduated high school, I just was unmoored and just sort of floating out in the sea. I did not have a direction. I didn't have a skill. I didn't know anybody. My parents were sort of don't ask, don't tell. And I literally was walking around North Hollywood applying for jobs at supermarkets and stuff like that. And there was no jobs. And I went to the North Hollywood Fire Department, and I just walked in and I said, I think I could be a fireman. I played football. I'm like, I'm strong. I don't have any fear. I think this would be a good job for me. I'm not good with the essays and the typing and all that stuff, but I'll go up a ladder and go into a building.
Yeah, I don't think you have to sell yourself that much. Just say you'll do it, and they'll they'll give you the application.
I was eager for the fray, and the guy gave me an application. He said, "Don't expect to hear from us for a long time."
Really?
And this is in the 80s, and I said,
because
you're white. He said, we're not hiring white people.
He said that?
He said, well, he was a white guy, and he was like, between the two of us,
so they
don't
were
expect
making
a
up,
phone call.
So they were overcompensating and making up for our sorry past, where blacks were.
Yes, they were. But to your point, I was first poor before I was white. You know what I mean?
I was poor too.
And I needed a job. And so they should hire sort of based on who needs it, not the color of your skin, is what I was saying. And I couldn't get on with the LA Fire Department because I was white, and that goes way back. Affirmative action, I think, predates DEI and all that.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. But
same idea.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's basically ecology and then climate change and global warming and all this stuff. There's sort of different
the
names
reason
for
why
the
it's
same
always
stuff.
problematic is because we do need to compensate in the whole for the groups in the whole. The problem is that then it's individuals who actually, in your case, for example, pay the price.
Yeah.
For things you personally didn't do and your race did. But you can't also deny that our race, we have some responsibility, not responsibility, but complicity, because we benefited from what advantages our entire race have. But then when it gets down to the individual level, you see where the bitterness comes in. I mean, who wouldn't be bitter if they were just the way blacks felt the same way? I'm being locked out of this job and you don't know me. You're judging me based on this thing.
Yeah.
And so, it's a tough one.
You bring up a good point, and I kind of experienced it in a weird story, which is I then couldn't get a job as a fireman, so I wandered onto a construction site, and I became a laborer. I just dug ditches and cleaned up garbage for $7 an hour, and that was sort of my lot. And then I worked.
So white people were still doing that work.
Listen, like I said, poor people's who I worked with.
Right.
I did all sorts of carpet cleaning and manual labor and stuff with white, with Todd Euler and Ray Oldhofer and guys like that, just dudes, just poor dudes. Parents lived in apartments, didn't have any money. But there's an interesting story that at a certain point I got a job. A job opened up for earthquake rehab for the city of Los Angeles. And it was a prevailing wage job.
After the one in 94?
No, pre the one in 94. 72 was the first one, I think, and then 94. But they were going to retrofit all these old brick buildings in Koreatown. And this is about an 87, maybe 88.
I mean, every year they say it's
big one.
It's coming.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it is, but boy, they did kind of boy who cried wolf me a lot. I'm sure the plates are not happy. Those tectonic plates, they're unstable. They're like your bipolar girlfriend. It could happen at any minute, or you could have a lovely dinner. I don't know. Well, it's just hard to say. But
bad news. This is all unreinforced concrete. So if it hits now, we're dead.
This place is going nowhere.
We're just going to be entombed
here. Going nowhere.
With all the money I put above it.
This is going fucking nowhere.
So
it'll be the last thing standing.
So I got this job doing earthquake rehab because it paid like $18 an hour, which was big bucks.
They called it rehab.
Earthquake rehab, yeah.
It's hysterical.
Seismic work, they called it.
California, even.
Yeah. The Betty Ford van was parked out front. So I get this job, and it's a city job. It's a government job, and they need a certain amount of women and African American. They need representation. Well, we can't find any black guys who know earthquake rehab work.
Don't forget the lesbians.
I don't know if they can check for that, but there were a few on there. So we end up with a black man named Chipper. And this guy's going to college, and it comes from money, but he's going to get this job working earthquake rehab and making good money. And he doesn't know anything. And he's not a carpenter. He's there. They hired him because he was black, and they need representation on the job site.
You a carpenter?
I was by then.
Really?
Because I'd been doing it for about 5 years before I got there.
Use me, Jesus.
But here's the part that's interesting. There's a guy on my crew named Jeff who's always wanted to be a fireman, but he's white and he can't get on. So he's a carpenter, but his dream is to be a fireman. And years later, I ran into this guy, Chipper, the black man carpenter, when I was doing a school function thing years later. I was already like a celebrity at that point. He said, hi. I said, hey, I remember all back in the day and everything. And I go, good. And he goes, that guy, Jeff, and you keep in touch with him? I go, no, not really. He goes, he was a racist. I go, I don't think he was. He was a nice guy, whatever. No, he was racist. And I said, why? And he said, he hated me the whole time. And I realized he hated you because he wanted to be a fireman, but he couldn't because of his race. And you were only hired because you're black, and that reminded him of that, and he like took it out on him. So it creates a weird Hatfields and McCoys in the system.
There's no perfect answers in any of these knotty questions, especially about making right for horrible things that happened in the past. Now, I can see people listening to you and saying, oh, Adam, you have a chipper on your shoulder because this happened and it has colored, no pun intended, your views on race politically for all the years that came after. Is that true, sir?
By the way, I gave Chip my bags. He didn't have bags. He didn't have belt. He didn't have belts. I gave him a electrician's bag that I had, and he put it through a Gucci belt and hung it as his bags on the job. And I was always good with Chip, but I do realize that this guy, Jeff, hated him because of the script being flipped.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that is a microcosm of something that's happened millions of times, I would imagine, in America. But again, what is the alternative? You always have to ask that question. Is the alternative that we should have done nothing to recompense for the horrible past? No, I don't think that's the answer either. You know, it's hard not to do it and in some way be clumsy about it. We did in my view, the woke movement went over its skis, or whatever that saying is, and went too far with it. I mean, there were universities, like I think it was Michigan, who had 200 DEI officers. Okay, at a college, at the most liberal place in the universe, you need 200 fucking I mean, this is just very Soviet. Because, you know, what are DEI officers? They're basically political enforcers, certainly when you have that many. So did they go too far? But this is the story of America with everything these days. Did Biden go too far with letting people in? Of course, no rational person would argue that. And then no rational person would say, yeah, and what Trump did in response to it wasn't too far the other way, with what's going on in Minneapolis and all this stuff that even his own people hate now. And I just look at this and I always say to myself, doesn't anybody want to win this game, this political game? It's so easy for somebody to win this game, and you both just go to the extremes and lose.
Yeah, so here's what I basically say. When they try to force you into a Prius, X amount of people go, I'm getting a Dodge Ram truck and I'm putting a lift kit on it and some of those truck nuts hanging from the differential.
And rolling coal. You know what that is?
Yeah.
What?
So, wait, hold on one second. I just want to say that when they push you this way, they then, a large group goes that way, but another group splinters off and goes harder the other direction. Now LA, which used to have just Camrys and Honda Civics, has either electric cars or Dodge Ram trucks.
Or the Musk thing, that personnel carrier thing, what's the Tesla that, you know,
the Cybertruck?
Yeah.
Yes, that's out of like Damnation Alley with George Papard from 1978.
Exactly. I mean,
that thing is crazy.
It's an asshole mobile. Okay.
Right. But so now we're at a point where everybody is projecting and everyone is signaling their base. So when you see a white guy and he has Oakley blade sunglasses on top of his trucker's hat upside down, you go, okay, that guy's a Trump voter. And then when you see Gavin Newsom with his legs crossed further than his knees are overlapping each other by 12 inches the wrong direction, then you go, okay, he's signaling to his base with the deep knee cross.
Back up here. I totally understand your point about signaling, and I think you're right. I did not get the memo on Newsom's legs.
Oh.
What is it? Is this a thing? Is this somewhere on the Tuckergram that I missed?
No.
Newsom's signaling people with his legs?
If you see pictures of Newsom with the leg cross, it is that. Okay, first off, guys would do this a lot.
I do it.
I do it too.
Because I'm a guy.
And then women would do a sort of this.
Yeah.
But the deeper the blue you get, the deeper, more compressive, the further it gets across. When you see pictures of Newsom with his legs crossed, it's insane. And the thing that's funny is Trump sits with his knees apart, and then he makes a diamond with his thumb and forefinger, and he puts it in front of his nutsack, and he says, focus on this.
Plus the giant tide pointing to it.
Right. If you see Justin Trudeau or Gavin Newsom or any of these people do panel, their legs, and if the guy is from the New York Times who's interviewing him, he's got the super deep leg cross too. It's sort of a signal to the base.
I didn't know about all that.
Oh, yes.
Okay, I'm learning. That's why we do this show, for learning. But I must say, I always thought it was a little weird when men cross their legs like you're describing. Nothing wrong with it, but it was just not how I cross my legs. It just, there's something about it that, I'm sorry, is just not manly.
Yes.
And you're saying that this is a signal.
Yes. It is. Okay. You can see it. You look it up.
You don't think it just could be that's how they do it?
It's more than a coincidence that it is almost strictly the domain of the liberal politician and the liberal who does these super deep
I'm going to need to I want to signal that I'm a centrist. I'm not that guy.
No.
But I'm not this asshole.
No.
Okay, so I'm here.
Right. But the thing about Newsom isn't here. Here was a woman in a miniskirt doing panel on Carson in the 70s. He's further than here. He goes. I'm telling you,
really?
Bill. Yes.
Maybe it's just a flex on how flexible he is.
I'm telling you, Obama does the deep one.
I mean, Chris Christie couldn't do it.
No. Oh, no.
I mean,
Pritzker and Chris Christie, no.
I mean,
if you see Obama, if you see Newsom, Justin Trudeau, deep, I think if you saw pictures of them 10 years ago, you wouldn't see the deep cross.
You think Obama does it?
Obama does the deep cross too, yeah.
Obama.
He's signaling that he's progressive.
But he's centrist, and he's very. I always thought he was. I'm a big fan. Masculine.
I think he may be, but I think he thinks his base or who he's talking to is not that.
He did get more leftist after he left office. I mean, the party in general did. I mean, Biden was much to the left of the Obama administration.
Yes.
Biden administration.
Yes, I agree. But then Clinton was, I mean, when they pull these clips up of these guys talking about immigration from 20 years ago, it just
Clinton. I never saw
crazy.
A picture of Clinton crossing his legs because he was always getting blown.
He was getting blown
at the time, and the girl was blocking it.
Right.
So I think that said something in itself.
No, he didn't want to crush her hat by.
Okay. Well, I learned so much.
Oh, you're going to see, Bill.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, this podcast is brought to you by Squarespace because at some point, I'll get to it is not an actual plan. Everyone has something they want to put out into the world, a business, a side hustle, a passion project, a thought they swear is worth sharing. Squarespace is the part where that actually becomes real. It's an all-in-one platform that lets you build a professional website, claim your domain, offer services, and get paid without the frustration of reading multiple how-to books. The best part is how streamlined the process is. The design tools are legitimately great. You can start with Blueprint AI or one of their templates and end up with something that looks custom, polished, and expensive without knowing anything about HTML or CSS. Unlike me, I know those things backward and forward. Don't worry if you don't know what those acronyms mean, because you don't have to with Squarespace. If you offer services, Squarespace handles scheduling, payments, and even email campaigns in one place. and their built-in SEO tools help people find you without begging the internet for attention. So stop waiting for the right time. Go to squarespace.com/clubrandom for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code CLUBRANDOM to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Squarespace, make your idea look like it belongs. It's February, it's cold, you're tired, but you're still trying to be healthy this year. Make your life easier and sign up with Factor. Factor, fully prepared meals designed by dietitians, made by chefs, and ready before you can talk yourself into ordering takeout. What I like about Factor is what actually goes inside the meals. Real ingredients, lean proteins, vegetables that look like vegetables, healthy fats, no refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners, no mystery oils pretending to be food. And there's real variety too. Over 100 rotating meals every week. High protein, calorie smart, Mediterranean, GLP-1 support, even their new Muscle Pro options for strength and recovery. And it's always fresh, never frozen. 2 minutes in the microwave, no prep, no stress, no dirty dishes staring at you afterward. Head to factormeals.com/random50off and use code random50off to get 50% off and free breakfast for a year. Eat like a pro this month with Factor. New subscribers only, varies by plan. One free breakfast item per box for 1 year while subscription is active. So what's your, are you optimistic about where we are now? Or are you, I mean, it's 1 year into the Trump second regime. It's the beginning of the year. It's a good time to assess, maybe predict, just, take your temperature on where you feel. How do you think 2026 is going to end? I mean, I just turned 70, so it's a big milestone year for me.
Congrats.
Yeah. Congrats. I love it. When you get so old, they congratulate you for being alive.
Yeah, and you walked here.
Congratulate you.
Almost no aid.
So it's to me, it's a, any year that ends in 6 is a big year. New decade starts. You almost feel younger because now you have a 0 at the end of the second.
That's right.
But
really, you're in overtime. But you thought...
Not quite. Yeah, not in this country.
No.
Russia, I would be.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not Russian.
I think that if Trump... I think ultimately, people care about gas prices and egg prices and, stability and, their paycheck and affordability and, basic stuff. Can you afford a house and stuff like that? And I think if Trump comes through with all that stuff, then I think most of America will sort of be okay with it. I don't think the Democrats are going to be okay with it because they're going to sort of agitate. And I think essentially the plan is chaos and agitation, and then a sort of a don't you want this to stop? And most people do. And it's actually...
You think if the Democrats are agitating?
I do.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean...
There's some agitating on the right. Come on.
Yeah,
ICE is agitating.
Right, but...
Even they're admitting it now.
But they go to states and municipalities where they just go do their job and there isn't shots and bottles and whatever.
They do. And I always like to look from, as a history major, what will the historians say when they write about this in 100 years? Well, first of all, a lot of shit will have happened, so it'll only get a paragraph. Mm-hmm. And that paragraph will probably begin with, because the Biden administration went so far with letting in illegal immigrants, there was a backlash that followed in the Trump and then blah, 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 and all his excesses there. So every action is a reaction.
Yeah.
We have to acknowledge that. Mm-hmm. But we are living in the present, okay? And in the present, I said this to Senator Kennedy on the show last week, you're going to get the dog shit kicked out of you in the midterms, because this is not what people voted for. Trump's down with all the people who he won back to degrees they didn't think possible when he won in 2024. I mean, he did better with minorities and Hispanics and young people. They've all went like, oh, well, you blew it. So I don't think, to me, that's not even, I mean, I would bet the house on that the Democrats are going to win big in the midterms.
I think what people want, sort of micro and macro, is they don't want chaos. And if there's chaos, they'll vote to stop the chaos. And anyone who's been married will tell you, like, look, she's wrong. I don't disagree with all this shit, but just turn the page. Like, I just don't want to deal with the chaos. And so I think that's kind of Democratic strategy, which is the chaos will end when we get rid of this guy or when we're in charge. I do think they're causing the chaos, but I think it's part of a strategy, and I think it's a good strategy. I think it's what's going to win.
I know someone who got divorced recently, and I was, as always with married people, shocked to hear it, because married people are geniuses at hiding it until it's announced. And she said, when we stop fighting, that's when you know it's over. And I thought that was really so, not that I've ever been married, but I certainly know that feeling. Like, when the woman stops fighting, it's like, okay, you're not even worth fighting with.
It's like when the football coach stops yelling at you, that's the bad part, because he's lost.
Right.
He doesn't find any potential left in you. He doesn't think you could be a better player than you are. Like, when you get ignored, that's when you should worry. And
is that what happened in your marriage?
No, I don't. My marriage is weird. There wasn't, the stuff you fight over in a marriage, if they did the list of the top 5 things couples fight over, money.
Money is number one by far.
Not an argument,
No, they have surveys about it.
Yeah, money, right. How to raise the children,
That's 2. That's number 2.
Yeah, infidelity. You know what I mean? Like, there's all the sort of top things people fight over.
Lack of affection.
That could have cracked my top 10.
No, I'm saying that's on their list.
Yeah.
That's from both sides.
We didn't really have the stuff that most people have, which is peculiar,
You didn't have any of that.
We never fought about money or how we're going to raise the kids or who's cooking my meals or
lack of affection.
Anything that we didn't fight over that either, but that could have been an issue.
I bet you did. You didn't say it, but because men and women define affection very differently.
Yes, that's true.
Right.
No, it's true. I mean, what I do is I do things for women. Like, I built you this gazebo.
Right.
And they go, I don't care.
Right. They don't. Right.
Stroke my hair.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I know. I get it. It's a flawed relationship from Jump Street because we're speaking 2 different languages under the same roof, essentially.
Usually that is the case. I mean, you can find your way out of it. Thank you, Jesus. But I mean, that is the norm. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. That whole thing. And that's a key part of it, is that a man's idea of affection is a blowjob, between the 11 o'clock news and when the late night shows come on.
Right.
A woman's idea of affection is, 3 days of listening or something.
Right.
It's just crazily different.
Well, I mean, we are very different, and I think part of the fix we're in from a society standpoint is trying to pretend like we're not for like the last 20 years. Women should have careers, go to work, and they don't need kids to define them. And
we shouldn't say they should have careers, but they certainly can, right?
No, everyone can have everything, but I feel like we're trying to talk women out of an imperative that has not been healthy for them.
There was a conservative kicker, Harrison Butker.
Yes.
For the Chiefs.
Yes.
Who was destroyed over this. Not destroyed so he lost his job, because he can still kick good.
Right.
And good. And I defended him. And I remember starting out saying, I have nothing in common with this guy. He's a super Christian, you know, he's whole about the family and the wife and having kids and blah, blah, blah. And all he was saying was like, you know, whatever, like my people, like, hey, you know, shout out to the ladies who want to have kids. It's like, okay, that's your view. And then there was some, I think it was the ESPYs, and people got on stage and was like, everybody here should be like happy to be here, except for you, Harry. And they literally pointed him out by name in the crowd. It's that kind of thing that makes me fucking hate the far left assholes who do that in their fucking bad attitude. That's just his view. And you know, a woman once said to me, that is women's liberation too. If you want to have children, if that's your goal in life, if that's what you think you were put on earth for, and you don't want to go to an office, that's liberation too. You should be able to do that without being shamed for it. And you know, and that's just a lot of the country who thinks this way. Like, have kids, you know, meet a football player and settle down. I mean, fucking Taylor Swift is always going out with these gay English guys, and then she meets a fucking man meat from America, and she's happy. Okay, that's not everybody, but obviously that's some people, and don't shame them.
Well, she was going out with the electric cars, and then she got the Dodge Ram. And now she's happy with the gun rack.
We'll
and
be
the
right
lift
back.
kit
That's
on
a
it.
great. If I was doing an old-fashioned show, that would have been a great place to take the commercial break. Such a great line.
Well, thanks. And yes, I completely agree with you, and it drives me nuts when people, it drove me nuts when during COVID you were talking about exercise and losing weight and
No
vitamin
sugar,
D, and
no
they were
sugar.
no sugar, and everyone was trying to
Crazy person.
assassinate you.
Crazy
and I'm like,
person.
He's just saying diet and exercise. Why does that make him the bad guy?
But I also was saying that what they didn't do, shame on them, was ever have the balls to say to Americans who were dying, the things you're dying from are old age, which you can't do anything about, and obesity, which you can.
Right.
But we're too fucking scared to say to you, if Ozempic had come along a couple of years earlier, they could have been there. But we were still in the, you can be healthy at any weight insanity.
We were in the Lizzo fat stage.
Lizzo looks great in her bikini.
Right,
I remember seeing that headline. And you know what? Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. You can think Lizzo looks great in a bikini.
No,
I'm a little different.
No, you cannot. Not if you drive that Ram truck. You cannot.
No, but some people do. But science is not in the eye of the beholder.
I agree.
From the people who are like, we're the science people, but him the science.
Well, listen,
and
doctors traditionally have told you the same thing for the last 40 years. They'd go, quit smoking, lose weight. Now they're just quit smoking and you do you.
Well, now they say quit smoking and do Ozempic.
Right.
Because suddenly the body positivity thing, I don't remember ever. Yeah, you said it all the time. Now you don't say it because you have Ozempic. So you can actually do what I was saying all along, which is lose weight.
Right.
Because the body is not listening to your nonsense. The body is following what the body follows, which is biology.
I have an Ozempic issue that I'm curious.
Oh, I got many.
If you agree with it or not. I have a problem with it in that, and most people go, well, so what? You know, you lose the weight, it's important. Oprah tells you, you know, it's a genetic thing and you got to do it. You got to listen. Why do we listen to Oprah? But all right, she's going to tell you whatever. I have a problem that's not about weight. It's more about discipline. I believe that an important part of life is discipline. And everybody I know who's successful has discipline. And everyone historically who's ever been successful, they get up, they do their homework, they show up.
There are exceptions, and they're called musicians.
Right.
Musicians do not need discipline.
But listen.
They don't even have to go on stage nearly at the hour that they said they were going to. And people still put up with it. They can show up 3 hours fucking late because they were watching a football game that they did not want to miss.
Yes, Axl Rose can show up that late. That is true.
He's hardly the only
right.
one who's
no,
done that.
that is true. But at some point, they sat in their basement and practiced the guitar for 11
Correct.
hours a day.
Yeah, they did.
And they had that, and now they can do it drunk and late. But they can still, there was a discipline. And to me, discipline is super important in life. It really helps. It helps kids. It helps adults. It's everything good out of life sort of comes from delayed gratification and discipline. And diet and exercise is really the daily discipline reminder. If you really think about, if you think about, I'm climbing Mount Everest. All right, but that's a once in a lifetime discipline, or I'm going to get my pilot's license or some other thing. That's a discipline. Or there's boot camp in the Marines. But diet, every single day you wake up and you go, God, I'd love some Pop-Tarts. And then a little voice in your head goes, no, don't do it. Don't do it. You know what I mean? And that's you exercising discipline. And
do you keep Pop-Tarts in the house?
No, I wouldn't bring them in the house, but I will tell you this. And one more reason to hate.
Do you keep Pop-Tarts in the house? I want answers to these questions, God damn it.
Just the fruity ones, never the chocolate.
These are the hard-hitting questions that you get on this show.
I'll tell you, Bill.
Do you keep Pop-Tarts in the house?
Not like you're ever going to have any fucking kids, but one more reason not to have kids is Pop-Tarts will be in the house. And when you have fucking kids, you open the pantry and you see a line of Pop-Tarts and breakfast cereals and cookies and s'mores, and you just go, oh my God. And then you open the fridge and it's all the pizzas and Italian takeout and pasta and all the carbs and all the shit
Fruity
you're not
Pebbles.
supposed to eat. Fruity, it's all there.
I had Fruity Pebbles in my pantry once.
Well, that was
my girlfriend.
Yes, that's the kids in the pot. That's not okay. So you open the fridge at night and you'll find a whole pizza in there that they ate, half of early, and then
but they can get away with it because
they can, but you're there, and you had a drink and you're starting to look at those Pop-Tarts in a real loving way. And then a point in your brain kicks in and he goes, no, don't do it. Don't do it. And that's the same thing that says, do another 10 minutes on the treadmill. Or you're working on you're doing the monologue for your show and you're tired and you want to watch TV, but no. Let's give it a little more time. You got a book. There's a date. It's got to be published.
Never phoned in 1 minute. 1 minute. I've never phoned in 1 minute of politically incorrect, real time, 33 years on TV. That you can't get me on.
No, I absolutely.
But once in a while,
I can tell.
I do. Yes, you're right. Mostly, but what I usually tell myself in those moments is, I know you want to give in to the, short term. Save it for when you really need it.
Right.
Because sometimes you do really need it.
Right.
Sometimes you have to give in.
Right.
And it is the right thing to do to have the Pop-Tart.
Right.
Said it. Sometimes it's the right thing to have the Pop-Tart.
Well, what I'm saying is the diet is an everyday sort of exercise. It's gravity. It's always on top of you. And it never goes away. And you don't know how many times a day you discipline yourself to go. I mean, I can't tell you how many. I work with young people, and I'm there during the day, and they go, we're going to the Habit, or we're going to In-N-Out Burger, we're doing a lunch run. You want anything, boss? And I go, fuck yes, I do. That's what my brain thinks. Like, I want a fucking double and fries smothered in shit. And I go, no, I'm good. I'm
in
good.
a restaurant, the waiter says, would you like a drink to start?
Right.
Yeah, I'd like it.
Right.
But I'm not going to order it.
Right.
Because I don't drink except here.
And then dessert, me too. That's why I'd appreciate not taking 3 years off, by the way, because I need a pop. But no, and then dessert. We got key lime pie. And you're like, but So I think Ozempic is great for weight loss, but bad for discipline.
You're so right. I've made the same point as much as I can, and boy, of all the third rails you can touch in America, this is the one that they just cannot accept, you cannot be honest about obesity. And it's like, first of all, I never do like the cheap jokes about it, and believe me, those jokes are submitted. I could. I'm just trying to state the facts and say it outright. And I remember, James Corden, you remember that, when he went after me? And you probably defended me. You have been, before I get too stoned to forget to mention this, you've been so supportive of our little enterprise here, and we appreciate it so much.
Well, you're telling the truth, and you're
as are you. I mean, it's just, but it's very appreciated because, it's so hard to not be on one of the extremes.
Yes.
To not have a team. I mean, it just really sucks, and especially in this town where everyone's on one team, and it's not. I mean, as I always say to my woke friends, we voted for the same person. You're just why she lost.
Right.
And they do not like that.
Right.
They are very exclusionary.
Yes.
They really just don't want to breathe the same air if you're not exactly with the groupthink.
Yes, which is,
while they're not that bright.
I know, and it's counterintuitive to me, because I always feel like you should be looking for things you agree on, not looking for things you disagree on, and it just makes life so much easier and so much better. And it's almost like saying, look, we'd like to go out to dinner. Let's not try to figure out what food you hate and I love. Let's try to figure out the food we both love, and let's go enjoy ourselves. And it's pretty easy to do, because if you think about most people who you may disagree with, or maybe I disagree with, it's not 10 out of 10 things. We agree on 8 out of 10 things, and maybe we have a disagreement about 2 out of 10 things. Like, people say to me all the time, "Oh, you're Republican and right-leaning." I go, listen, I don't own a gun. I'm not religious at all. I'm for abortion and pot smoking and everything. How right can I be?
You've put your finger on the thing that makes me so incensed about the woke and the far left, which is this, that they want to characterize people, you, me, Barry Weiss, who's a lesbian and Jewish, and things that used to be our, we need no further credentials to let you know that we are certainly not conservatives, we're not right-wingers, we're not whatever you think, and yet it's never enough for them. It's never enough that we're just not willing to go along with your insanity. That doesn't make us conservatives.
Right. No, I agree. Barry's great, and there's many people that way. And again, it's interesting because they feel compelled to put you somewhere, and if you don't conform and it doesn't work, then they have an issue with it. But I think, well, first off, here's the thing. Imagine if you had to conform. I mean, imagine if COVID came around and you just had to go in.
I did.
All in on all of it.
I did have to conform. I didn't want the vaccine at all. Not that I'm against all vaccines, just I didn't think I needed that one. But I had to have it. I couldn't have continued my life.
Right.
They wouldn't have let me do the show, and I had to do it here. I did it in this room.
Well, that's basically what I'm saying. Let's talk about the vaccine. The vaccine came around, and COVID came around. And I have twins, and at the time, boy, girl, with the fucking Pop-Tarts, God damn it. and they were like 14, and
14?
There were 14 at the time of COVID. And I had, at the time, elderly parents. And so people would come to me and they'd go, "What about the vaccine?" And I would go, "Well, my elderly mom and my elderly dad should get the vaccine.
Perfect.
And my kids shouldn't get the vaccine." And they go, "So you're against vaccines?" And it's like, can we have a little fucking nuance here, you idiots?
That is such a perfect microcosm of reasonableness to me.
Right.
Like, yes, 14 and 94 are different.
Yes.
And if you don't see that, you are not the science people.
No, you're actually anti-science because my 14-year-olds don't need it at all because
Not
they're
at all.
They're healthy, thin, and active, and my elderly parents do. And so that's where I come down on this. Why is that an issue? I don't even get why that's even a thing. Why would you even say anything about it?
No, that's it's like the perfect example to prove why we, I say this like we should, like we're going to do anything I say we should, but we should come to the middle, where there is always, to literally every problem that seems so intractable, there really is some pretty easy, if people would just stop being so extreme, middle ground, grand bargain. We used to have grand bargains in this country where each side would come to the table and they would understand we're not going to get everything, we're going to get Greenland, but we're not going to actually own it with the deed.
Right.
Right. Come on. I mean, look, is he the first guy to ever suggest we should have Greenland? No, he's not. I mean, so there's that side, and my always bitch about the media is like, you never read the whole story in either organ. You have to read something from both sides to get the full story.
Right.
So, I never read or read in the leftist press that, no, he's not the first president to even suggest this. Presidents have thought about Greenland before.
Yes.
Okay, but then, of course, it's insane to say we're going to take it by force. That was crazy. But, Greenland, is it the craziest idea anybody has ever had? No. And could it be super valuable? Yes. Is it worth, making the whole world hate us? No. Again, there's always just a middle ground, even on something like Greenland, which, by the way, before he came along, I had never been thinking about.
No, I agree. He does.
But maybe we should have. Maybe we should have. That's also should be on the table. Maybe we should have.
I agree. I don't know if there's I don't, Trump has, he has bunches of different ideas. He has, let's make Canada the 51st state, but I think he's just talking. You know what I mean? I don't know that he really thinks that. Then he has stuff like, let's move the embassy from Tel Aviv to, wherever in Israel. Jerusalem.
Which every president had on his desk. They just pocket vetoed it for administration after administration. It always should have happened, and he did it.
Right.
I make no apologies for giving him complete credit for doing the right thing that everybody said they were going to do, and then they didn't have the balls to do it.
But the left said the Middle East is going to be on fire if you do it, and then he did it, and nothing happens. Right. So
it's been the Jewish capital since 1000 AD, 1000 BC.
Right. So there's the stuff he does do that everyone says is never going to work, but it does. And then there's the stuff he doesn't do that he probably never was going to do. But most interestingly enough, I guess with Trump, is he brings up a lot of stuff where you go, I never thought of that. I never thought about Greenland.
I always call him President, I've got an idea. There's just not anything he surveys that he doesn't think he can fix, whether it's the ballroom, the lack of, at the White House, which, by the way, I don't give a shit about either way, or the Kennedy Center, or NATO, or Greenland, or, credit card rates are too high.
No, but he does do a thing, sometimes when he goes, why don't we take Palestine and make it into a golf resort and have beautiful, it'll be like Miami Beach, And I go, everyone's first impulse is, this is outrageous. And then the next one is like, I don't know. Maybe there's something there.
Of course, he's always over the top, the way he describes anything. But the idea that Gaza could have always been Abu Dhabi, which is not a golf resort, but which is a very successful Western, shall we say, influenced culture, still a Middle Eastern country, obviously, that is rich and doing well, and the citizens are prospering. Other people have said that for decades. Gaza could have been that. Israel gave it back. It wasn't a negotiation. It was like, okay, you know what? You take it. And what did they do? They imported missiles from Iran and built tunnels and did nothing but try to destroy Israel. That's what they did with their independence.
Right.
That is not the fault of Zionists or anybody else in the world but them.
Yes.
That's what they did from 2005 when they had it all to their own. They could have made it Abu Dhabi. No, it shouldn't be Miami Beach either. Look, Miami Beach itself is too much for me. I once thought about moving to Miami Beach when the pollution here got so bad I couldn't see the sun for a week, but I pulled back. Well, here's something no one tells you when you buy a car. It's not done costing you money, ever. 1 minute it's running fine, the next minute a dashboard light comes on and suddenly you're Googling what the genie lamp looking symbol means. We've all been there, standing in a repair shop, hearing the mechanic give you a laundry list of fixes at too high of a price. That's why CarShield actually makes sense. CarShield helps cover expensive car repairs and connects you with ASE certified mechanics nationwide. They've got 24/7 roadside assistance, courtesy towing, even rental car options. So when your car gives up on life, you don't have to. Their plans are month to month with low deductibles, which means you're not locked into anything or wiped out when something breaks. And considering they've been doing this for over 20 years, covering more than 2 million vehicles, they're clearly doing something right. Plus, they have an A+ rating from the BBB and are rated a USA Today's top place to work in 2026. Look, one of my producers swears by vehicle protection plans, and this is what he uses. Because surprises are great at birthday parties, less so on the freeway. Make a decision your wallet will love with CarShield. Right now, CarShield is offering our listeners 20% off with the code RANDOM at carshield.com. Visit carshield.com to lock in your 2026 protection today. Go to carshield.com and use code RANDOM for 20% off.
They created what they're living in, and I don't know why that's so controversial. You know, I don't know why we are so
because
energized with that.
I have a list of like 30 important things that Trump has done in the first year that I'm against and that I do not like. But his idea, his just sort of macro 30,000 feet idea that Western civilization is the civilization we should defend, and that it is under attack, and that Israel is the front line in that fight, is right.
Yes.
And I am aligned with that point of view. Does he carry it out the way I would like? No, he carries nothing out the way I would like. But I can't deny that that's the truth too. Western civilization, I believe in it.
Yes.
The elements of it that everyone in this country, not everyone, but lots of people just take for granted your free speech and your right to wear what you want and be who you want and love who you want. This is not everywhere in the world. And this civilization that you seem to want to promote to this status of being the downtrodden people who deserve our most heartfelt sympathy, well, that's also the civilization that is most oppressive to women and gay people and other people that are sort of important to your coalition, I thought.
Well, I think of it this way, which is America is constantly comparing itself to some civilization that never existed. Some utopian civilization. And it's really, it's really this, because, it's like, as we invented slavery. We were the only country in the world that ever engaged in this and stuff. And it's
I got to stop you because there are people listening to this, I hope not many, because we have a very smart audience, who heard you say sarcastically, we invented slavery.
Right.
And they went, yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Because there are lots of people who think that.
Right. Okay.
But
So
we didn't.
Every nation and every civilization
Yes.
had slaves, and we were probably late to the slave
Wasn't
party.
even really usually about race, because they did it with people because travel was so difficult, who lived near them.
Right.
Who looked like them.
everybody's involved with this, and we had a war to stop it. And so all we can do is sort of compare ourselves to civilizations that either exist now or before us. So it's almost like saying, it's like saying, oh, the Seattle Seahawks, 13-3 or 14-3 or whatever, big whoop. What about this team that never existed that went 17-0 for the last 1,000 years and won every Super Bowl? It's like no team has done that. You can compare yourself to other teams in the league.
Didn't the Dolphins go 17-0 and
they went, I think 14-0 or something. Maybe it was before the 17-game season.
Oh, it was definitely
maybe with the playoffs.
I think it was a 14-game season.
14-game season, then playoffs and whatever. Yes, one team ran the table one time.
I'm just saying, don't shit on Don Shula, Elvis Presley, or Pop-Tarts.
Or Larry Zonka.
When you're here.
Right, never. But one team did it once. It's been 6 years. So here's what I'm saying. We don't compare ourselves to a team that never existed, that never lost a Super Bowl and never lost a game. We have to compare ourselves to other teams in the league.
Yes.
And we are essentially the Pittsburgh Steelers that's done a lot of winning and won a bunch of Super Bowls, or maybe the 49ers or whatever it is. And then other places are the Cleveland Browns. And they've never won a Super Bowl, and they don't have they don't have more than 500 type seasons. They're always deficits. But the whole point is why are we comparing ourselves to teams that never existed?
Or to put it another way, have we not lived up to our ideals? Of course we have not. We're humans, and compromises have to be made. But the ideals that everybody around the world, including those who shit on us, want us to live up to, we created.
Right.
We created those ideals.
Yes.
Could we get a little credit for trial by jury?
Right.
A little credit for equal rights for minorities? Freedom of the press. These things weren't like given to us when they were, in 2001 throwing the apes and throwing the bone up in the air. They had to be won hard winning fights, hard battles that we had to undertake to get to these places. People didn't just come along.
There's also kind of a bottom line, which is, if we're as whatevers you guys all say we are, why is everyone trying to get here? And if we're so oppressive to minorities and people of color and people who look different than us, why are they the number one group who's trying to get into this country? You do the math. I mean, there's a
lack of perspective.
Yes,
my complaint is just, it's never that, I'm not saying you don't study slavery. Of course, even when I was a kid, we studied slavery and we were told it was bad. Did we obsess about it? No, maybe we should have a little more. But I mean, I was in 8th grade history class. I remember this, with a conservative teacher. I remember this guy. I remember my parents didn't especially like him. They thought he was, and he was. But of course, in those days, they didn't put that out very much in the classroom. But even as an 8th grade kid, I could kind of read between the lines. I remember there was a demonstration about the Vietnam War, and he kind of let us know he took a dim view of that. Okay, fine. But we didn't get too political. But even with this guy, I got it. Slavery bad.
I saw Roots with my mom in North Hollywood in our
Wait, I thought your mom was never there. And now you watch Roots with her? I didn't watch Roots with my mom.
Her mom, she never left the house, so she was always there. She just didn't have basic cable.
Wait a second, Adam Carolla. I feel like I have just been taken in by a sob story, and now you tell me you let it slip because you're drunk, that you eat Pop-Tarts and you watched Roots with your mom?
That's right.
Tell me about it. Tell me about that experience.
I think Alex Haley, probably a 7-part series.
Yes.
It's an odd number series.
I remember it so vividly. I was in college. It certainly got on everybody's radar. It was January. I remember it aired in January when everyone was inside. Nobody was out. It was freezing cold. And there it was, this groundbreaking. And it was great. And I remember it had in it an actor who was one of my favorite actors because he was the star of Combat. He later lost.
LeVar Burton?
No.
That's a joke. LeVar Burton could have been a
Morrow.
Vic Morrow.
Vic Morrow.
Oh.
Who was the star of Combat.
Yes,
the greatest show ever,
yes.
which Steven Spielberg made into the greatest movie ever,
Jeeps
called Saving Private Ryan, the greatest combat episode ever.
Yes.
But Vic Morrow, unfortunately, later lost his head filming a movie, literally.
That was the craziest thing with the helicopter crash. And
Right,
those two kids.
Well, it wasn't a crash. The blade cut his head off.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, the helicopter crashed and the blade cut his head off. It was also holding two kids.
Children.
Two.
But they survived, right?
No.
No?
No?
They died too?
Would you think it's possible for him to hold two 4-year-olds and have a helicopter blade go across his chest?
Anyway, let's get back to Roots.
Sorry.
The subject you're trying to avoid because it exposes your lie about your bad childhood.
I watched it with my mom, and the whole time she just looked at me and she went, "Do you see how bad we are? Do you see what happens?
I see a parent caring for you.
Yes, you do.
There. That's what I see.
Yes.
A parent caring and trying to teach you a lesson by watching Roots with you.
The lesson was learned.
What was it?
We are evil. We have a horrible history, and this is all our fault. And that's the message that stuck with me. But I learned it as you learned it. This thing where it's like they're trying to erase history. It's like, what do you mean? I'm totally aware of this. I feel like everyone is aware of it. And I don't feel like there's anyone who can escape it at this point.
I'm not sure that all the time in Mississippi they were teaching that Lincoln's birthday was a great thing.
Right.
I'm not sure about that. And they did call it, they did not call it the Civil War. They called it the War of Northern Aggression.
In Mississippi?
I believe in the South.
On the South.
There was,
interesting.
you can, please go to the stacks, look at the microfiche. Am I behind the times on this? Okay.
No, I was looking at microfiche earlier. Today. Yeah, I pulled my Stutz Bearcat into the library, and I got my raccoon coat out, and I said, "Do you know what?"
Oh, it was after that.
I said, 22 skidoo to the library.
No. We're talking about the 1980s now.
Yeah, I know.
90s. But, but I think you will find that in the southern states, there is a different view of it. But in general, we acknowledge it. And what I was trying to tell, for example, Marshawn Lynch was here recently, and I don't feel like he really had been apprised of the idea that slavery had occurred all over the world throughout history. And I tried to make the case that humans are not good people. It's just not whites that are not good people.
Right.
Humans are not good people.
No, I mean, obviously,
they all basically act the same.
Africans were very involved with the slave trade.
Very involved.
Right. And so we have a narrative, and the narrative is one that paints a kind of a picture that is not totally accurate. And by the way, if I was Marshawn Lynch, and this is kind of my problem, I guess, with the media, which is if somebody said to me, look, cops shoot black people and they shoot white people, and they sort of equal opportunity offenders, then I would go, okay. But if the narrative is black people have a target on their back and cops are gunning for them and they're not welcome in this society and there's systemic racism, then that would be very agitating to a black person. Well, I would assume.
It's also what I call a zombie lie.
Right.
What was it true? Of course it was true. Could you find it true in pockets of America today? Possibly.
What percentage of cop shootings or cop anythings, fatalities or whatever, would go away if the person just 100% complied with whatever the orders were? Roll the window down or hands on the wheel, like whatever people think is demeaning or beyond the scope of his ability. I contend they would all go away.
I will give you that point.
Of almost every bad cop killing that we hate, that if the person, white or black, because we've seen white now in Minneapolis. If the person just went, whatever you need,
okay,
I'll do it, it would end tomorrow.
I will give you that point.
And there could still be bad cop shootings.
Okay.
But
I'm going to give you that point. Give me this point.
Okay.
Okay, here's the deal. Here's our grand bargain.
I'll
give you that bargain. That point. Yes, if you don't fuck with the cops, you will probably not get shot. Yeah. Also, the cops have to have different training so that job one isn't, if you don't respect me to the utmost degree, I get to fucking shoot you. Yeah. A lot of them just have a bad attitude. That's what we saw with the one this last week in Minneapolis. This Alex Preddy guy. Okay, what he did basically was not conform to doing exactly what you said, and yes, you should, but also it can't be means for an execution. The cops are, it attracts too many people, that job, who want to be bullies, give people a badge, it's a license to be an asshole. Now, some of that is gonna have to get in, that's just the job, okay?
Yes.
But you could have training that tries to ameliorate that issue, that problem, that if you just don't do exactly what I say, I have the right to fucking kill you. That's got to go away. The sign on the door says to protect and serve. That refers to us.
No,
us,
listen,
not you.
I
us.
I agree. But here's where I think
Pop-Tart.
Here's where I think you may be wrong.
Not that we're two drunks.
I don't know.
Who are just like ranting.
No,
that's not what this show is.
No.
Two fucking guys at the corner of the bar just ranting at each other. That's not
cross
us.
my legs like a straight guy.
Yeah, I don't know who makes these rumors up.
I think there's a problem, and the problem is human nature. I don't know about training 23-year-olds. If you have a gun and it's strapped to your hip and some guy's calling you a pussy cocksucker for the last 2 hours and spitting in your face, you have a gun strapped to your hip and you played a little football in junior college, I don't know a human being. I didn't go to high school with a guy who wouldn't shoot you.
So true.
So we're creating something that's unrealistic. They're going, you're saying to every asshole I went to high school with, here's a gun.
Right.
Now I'm going to stand in front of you and call you a fucking pussy and spit at you.
Right.
But don't use that gun. Don't ever use that gun. At some point I might start pushing you, but don't use the gun. But only if you see me reaching for something that might be a gun, then you can use that gun. It's an impossibility to not do it. I've said this to people a million times. Don't look at cops as cops. Look at them as dudes with guns. And you wouldn't go up to a dude with a gun and start calling him a pussy and getting in his face and saying his old lady's snatch stunk. He's got a gun. Just treat it like he has a gun.
That's so brilliant. Really, that cops are dudes with guns. That's so brilliant.
That's all they are. And they may have badges and they may have hats, but for that millisecond, they're dudes with guns, and act accordingly, and don't walk toward them screaming, shoot me, or fuck you, or I dare you. They're dudes with guns.
You know what it reminds me of? Many is the time, well, a few times, I went out to a strip club with some guy who had never been there before, and it's like the froth is coming out of their mouth. They think they're going to get blown in the champagne room.
Right.
And my advice is always, just pretend this is a regular bar.
Right.
Just pretend it's a regular bar. And then if a hot chick comes up and starts talking to you, think how happy.
Right.
Okay, that's happening.
Right.
Okay, you're not going to get blown in the champagne room, or you shouldn't. If you are, we're in the wrong kind of strip club. It's not going to be good for anybody. Just be happy for what this is.
Right.
And not have these expectations.
Yes.
So let's go to the strip club.
I agree. Where's my gun?
So you don't have a gun, but you would go to a strip club?
Yes.
You're single now?
Yeah. Well, no, I have a girlfriend.
How long?
She's like 5'8". I don't know. Why do you care how long she was? She a Marlin?
Okay, Groucho. Very good.
Groucho. How dare you demean me?
Oh, no.
Groucho's a genius. No.
Genius. That was like a Marx Brothers
That was a Marx Brothers. Yeah, I don't know that it's even a joke. How long? But because if you say how long have you been going out, we don't get it. But you just said how long. That's why it triggered me.
It's perfect. It should be a classic Marx Brothers or something from that era. It's a joke that somebody should have written in 19...
I'm sure some vaudevillian guy...
I would think I would have been aware if they did. Sometimes
How long is a brand new joke?
Well, they just found a letter that was mailed in 1922 that got there. You know, sometimes a diamond just does stay in the rough.
All right, I will take full credit for the
So how long have you been going out with this alleged girlfriend of yours?
3 years.
I hear she's from Canada, which is what people say when they want to think you have a girlfriend, but you really don't.
3 years. She's from here, yeah.
So this was going on during your divorce?
Yeah, during the divorce, yes.
Wow. That's a patient woman because usually women are turned off by a guy going through a divorce.
That's why, no, I agree. And she's a saint that way. And, divorce is like, it's really, divorce is kind of an interesting metaphor because it sort of ties into all the Somali fraud and everything else, which is like, and now here's why.
Wait.
Yes.
We're now. I missed the recap on this streaming show. How did we get to Somali fraud?
I'll bring it home.
Okay.
For you, which is the laws in California about divorce entice people to do the wrong thing and entice them to be bad and immoral and abuse the system.
What is the wrong thing? What is the abuse?
Well, if you say, look, I'll give you an example. Child support. So they go, look, here are the laws in California for child support. You have to pay some exorbitant amount for child support. In my case, I don't know, it was like $19,000 a month. Like my fucking mom ever spent $19 my entire life. Sitting there watching Roots, eating Pop-Tarts.
That's a lot of Fruity Pebbles.
Black and white, Zenith TV. So first off, the fact that it takes $19,000 a month to raise kids is insane. There should be just a set amount. It's $3,000, it's $2,500.
It's only because you're rich.
Right. It's only because I'm rich. That's fine. But you pay $19,000 a month for child support, right? Wow. And then what happens is one of the kids wants to fly out and look at colleges in Arizona or Seattle or something like that. And they go, who's paying for the tickets? And you go, well, take it out of the 19. And they go, no, that's not covered by the 19. And you go, I don't get it. It's child support.
What is covered by the 19? I mean...
like dental.
Every month?
It's literally...
Every month you have dental?
No, what I'm saying is you go, your daughter wants to go to a prom and she wants to buy a prom dress. So we're going to split the price of the prom dress? And you go, no, take it out of the 19. They go, that's not covered by the 19.
I'm asking what is?
I give food, shelter.
I don't think I spend $19,000 on food.
That's the whole point. Well, you're on Ozempic, so
no, I'm not.
Well, that's what I heard, Bill. You're pretty high. The point is,
I'm pretty high. All right, that's undeniable.
All right. The point is, I'm talking about the system, right? All right. So what's left over on the night after the month with the 19 goes into your ex-wife's pocket or the other person's pocket. So we created a system where I pay in 19, it doesn't cover the prom dress or the flight to Arizona to look at colleges, and if there's anything left over at the end, I don't get it back. It goes to your ex-wife. That's a fucked up system that's incentivizing them to spend less on the kids because it goes into their pocket. So California has tons of fucking rules that incentivize women to be immoral and do the wrong thing morally. Now you go to Minnesota and Somalis, there's a whole bunch of systems that go, look, how's your kid doing? He's fine. Do you think he's on the spectrum? I don't know. Sometimes he closes his eyes when I talk. That's good. He can get $2,400 a month. And you go, what? Because he closes his eyes? Believe me, he's on the spectrum. Now go get your $2,400 a month. We incentivize people to do the wrong fucking thing in this country. And this country is not filled with bad people, and it's not filled with criminals. It's filled with weak people who will do whatever they need to do. I tell people all the time, almost everyone I know, if they find a wallet on the ground and it's got an ID in it, and it's got cash in it, and it's got the guy's kids' pictures in it, they will return it. They'll do the right thing. If you find cash on the ground, you take it, you put it in your pocket, and you keep walking. You don't turn it into the lost and found. You can't leave cash on the fucking ground. That's what we're doing with all these centers and kids' lunches and kids' first step forward and all these. Of course, there's $24 billion out the window with homelessness. We've incentivized people to do all these NGOs and nonprofits and groups that are advocates for. They're going to do this because they're human. And they're going to do the wrong thing just like people do in divorce.
And it starts with the stupid idea, again, the left going way too far, missing their stop on the subway and falling asleep on the train and waking up in Canarsie, with the idea that we need to normalize homelessness, defend it. Defend it like it's a marginalized group.
They're unhoused. There are unhoused neighbors.
They are unhoused, and we should do something about it. But the answer among liberals used to be, get them under a roof, whatever it takes, as opposed to what the woke say, which is like, how dare you disturb this protected...
They're like majestic creatures in the wild. They're like panda bears or something. Just stand back. Give them some bamboo. Let them breathe. Well, here's a point that I said on the first day when the fires hit in Malibu. I lived in Malibu. I live in Malibu. But I was evacuated, and I went to a hotel room.
This is the one a year ago, the fire, the big fire.
This is the big fire, yes.
Do you know that
it's the one that took down Chicago in 1911.
Do you know that I was taping here with Matt Gaetz, who came up from San Diego, drove through a fire to get here, and we taped right until they told us to evacuate.
Really? Here?
And he was charging his car in my garage. And the second, we taped right up into the moment they said, you have to go now.
Matt Gaetz drives an electric car.
Yes.
That's the news.
And drives through a fire to keep an appointment. I got to give him that.
Well, I was evacuated from Malibu, and I ended up in a hotel room. And
Where?
In Burbank, California. And
Beautiful downtown Burbank.
Me and Johnny Carson's ghost were in this hotel in Burbank. And I did my podcast from that hotel room because my studio was powerless because the winds had taken out the power lines and I had no power, but I was able to do it. And I said that morning after the fire, I said, look, first off, no permits. You guys think you're coming back with permits. You're not coming back with permits. You're not getting any permits. That's the way this city rolls. I was a contractor. You guys don't know it, but there's no permits, which I want to talk to you about. But I said at the time, look, there's 5,000 people that are unhoused overnight. Overnight. There's the entire population of Malibu, the Palisades, Altadena. We're talking about 5,000 structures. We're talking about...
Some of them tragically did not even have second homes.
I know. Some of the folks had to go all the way to Aspen to their third home.
Sad.
Oh, guys had to hang out with Costner.
There's nothing sadder than the second homeless.
There are second homes. But I said... But Altadena is working class and
totally
sort of real.
Oh,
Altadena,
absolutely.
It's not Pasadena, and it's not Palisades, and it's not Malibu.
Even people in the Pacific Palisades.
Palisades, for sure.
Some of those people bought the houses in 1950.
They're school teachers that lived there.
Exactly.
Right,
and they got in before it was the...
They bought a house in the Palisades for $49,000 in 1963.
Exactly.
And the guy was a school teacher, and his wife was a secretary.
So it's not all people who...
No.
Right. It's not all Tom Hanks.
But here's the point. The point is, the fires hit last night. These people were unhoused and they were literally homeless because their house was burned to the ground. How many of them are sleeping on the sidewalks this morning? And the answer is 0. Nobody who is literally unhoused is unhoused. So what happened? Well, they have a network. They're not fentanyl addicts. They didn't run afoul of everybody in their family and everyone in their world. When I was homeless, Dr. Drew, Jimmy Kimmel, my network reached out to me and said, do you want to stay in my guest house? Do you want to flop on my sofa? I have a credit card. I could stay at a hotel. I have a network. I built a base.
Yes.
It's not like the home was the reason I wasn't homeless. I have a base. Everyone is homeless overnight. No one slept on the sidewalk. So it's not the homes. It's something else. It's mental. It's addiction.
It's also money. The biggest difference between black and white in America is legacy wealth. That's the huge thing. The average, I don't know, I'm not gonna try to quote because I'll get it wrong, but the average wealth of a single black woman is very low.
Yes.
And the average wealth of white people is $170,000 because of all the years and decades and centuries where we only got to accumulate wealth.
Yeah, but hold on. Asians are above us and Nigerians are above them. It's not all skin color. Nigerians come here, they're very successful.
That is
Asians
true.
come here, Armenians.
But if you're talking about why people couldn't find a home when their house burned down, some of it absolutely is because you have a more, I hate the word, privileged network. And
But I built it.
Yeah.
I built the network.
You built it and you inherited it.
I didn't inherit it.
Well, you did somewhat by being white. There is some truth in that. There is some truth in that. There is just more white wealth in America.
There is more white wealth.
Okay.
But I don't know how
So when you have a
benefited me.
tragedy, there's a lot more people who say, I have a credit card. Among the black community, some of them don't even have credit.
No, but
let alone
listen,
a card.
I built the wealth, which is I hung out with dudes who don't have anything, and I somehow met and made my way toward Dr. Drew and Jimmy Kimmel and Mark Garagos and things like that. I made that.
I know, but
and it wasn't because I was white. It's because I moved through the system.
Listen to who your friends are. That's not the average person's friend. It's certainly not the average black person's friend.
I'm not saying it's the average person's friend.
I mean, and Jimmy Kimmel, he's very mad at me, and I know you're close to him.
I've heard of that.
I hope you tell him that, I'm sorry that, they got bent out of shape. I don't think I did anything wrong. We can have disagreements.
I agree.
I mean, you and I don't agree on everything. Look at this clash now. And yet we're cool. The Republicans are always, this is the difference between the right and the left. It bugs me so much. My tribe is supposed to be the left. But these are the people who just can't talk to you unless you're exactly there. Whereas the Republicans, they always fucking come to my show. John Kennedy from Louisiana was on last week.
Yes,
took his beating like a man, like they all do, and we came across lovingly and smilingly and happily, and we can disagree.
I agree.
You and I aren't always completely on the same page, although we're very close because we're both smart guys. But I just don't get that from and Jimmy, I'm sorry, I think this is one of the nicest guys. I did a mea culpa when we exchanged emails, not about what he was complaining about, but just saying sometimes I am a little brash about me when they compare me with the other late night guys. And I'm like, I'm not like you guys. I'm not. You could all exchange your monologues, all of you, and no one would know the difference in tone. Tone, okay?
Tone, yeah.
Whereas me, I'm not there. I'm not
agree.
in on your. I don't just buy into the left-wing bullshit, and I never stop making fun of the right-wing bullshit, at all.
Right.
And like, if that's not good enough for you, then I think you're the asshole. And I don't think Jimmy is an asshole.
No,
I think
not.
he's a great guy. And it bugs me that, because of what the latest thing was, that, we may never talk
You guys
again.
should be thick as thieves and on the same page. And I'll tell you something interesting, talking about left and talking about right and in disagreements. I said to Tucker Carlson once, and this is probably about 6-7 years ago, I said, Tucker, why don't you get together a network of Republican or sort of conservative? Why don't you put together your own kind of conservative network? And he said, it won't work. And I said, why not? He said, they all disagree with everything each other is saying all the time. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I mean, you take something like COVID, half Republican, and I don't mean Republican, I said conservatives are going, get the shot, get the shot. The other are going, never, it's poison. You know what I mean?
Was the one who got the shot.
Right, and they're constantly, you see Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly, and they're all like sniping and battling, and
Now they
Ben
are,
Shapiro
yes.
and
Marjorie Taylor Greene was on my show this Friday.
This cabal, right, of people constantly disagreeing and arguing all the time about everything. He said you can't get them on the same page, but he said the left, you can get them on the same page. You can get them to agree to stuff. You can get them sort of, you take COVID. I didn't hear any dissenting voices on and yet you, because you are intellectually honest and you're not exactly left-wing, but CNN, MSNBC,
Right.
even ABC, they're all just ivermectin, horse paste,
and they were just
fuck Joe Rogan.
And they were just
blah, blah.
organs of the
They were just
government.
organs of the government.
Organs of the
Right.
government, which is not their function. They're supposed to be watchdogs of the government.
Right. So,
But it's so funny you say that, because I think of it as the opposite. You said, the right wing, there's so much dissent. I mean, I feel like now, in the last month since Minneapolis, there's been dissent on the right. But I think in general, I think of them as like, whatever Trump wants, we rubber stamp. I mean,
well, maybe
you can't tell me that Congress.
I don't mean Congress. I mean like amongst the tastemakers, your sort of
Right.
Tucker Carlsons, your Candace Owens, your Ben Shapiro's.
You're right. They're all over the map.
They're all battling
They're fighting each other.
Right. And on the left, everyone's sort of lockstep in terms of the tastemakers.
Right. Ben Shapiro, Yarmulke.
Right.
Tucker Carlson, Hitler.
Right,
Not so bad.
Right. So
what the fuck?
But all I'm saying is whether you agree or disagree, at least they're being honest. Because when you hear the dissenting voices, you're hearing.
You think
at
Candace
least them.
Owens is honest? You think You think Candace Owens believes what she's saying?
That's a tough one. I got to say. And by the way, I don't follow her. I just hear the sort of rumblings. I did say to Chris Cuomo when he said to me, like, do you really believe Ben Shapiro or Dennis Prager or Tucker Carlson? I go, they believe it. You can disagree with it all you want, but that's how they think. I mean, and I would say the exact same thing about you as I would say about Ben Shapiro. 100% you guys believe what you believe.
Absolutely. And you.
Yeah, I feel that way too. It doesn't make you right or wrong.
And by the way, there's nothing you believe that you have anything to apologize for, even if someone disagrees with you. But by the way, Candace Owens,
she may be a provocateur. Like
maybe.
I mean, sorry, she is a provocateur. What I'm saying is she may be saying things that she knows isn't true to create something. I do not think you would do that. I don't think Ben Shapiro does that. I don't think I do that. I don't think many other people do that.
All I know is she's very entertaining, which can be dangerous because she has some ridiculous beliefs.
Yes.
But, I mean, she's entertaining. When I finish listening to her, I'm over the moon. Not that we landed on it.
I do want to bring up something that I watch all the time, and I cite it. And I appreciate you when you had Jane Fonda on the show. And you were... And so I want to tell you something about you.
On this show?
On this show.
Not that this is a show.
Yeah.
Whatever this is. I would hardly call it a show, but
So,
it is entertaining.
But there's a couple things. I said my entire career, I said, listen, I used to be a contractor. I used to have to pull permits. I used to have to deal with the city, plan check, and all of the above. I had to deal with all of it. And I would always say, look, if you're living in Santa Monica and you have rent control apartment, good. Vote the way you vote. I get it. But buy a piece of land, get a home, go to the city, try to pull a permit, and then tell me how you feel about this government. Because I think it's too fucking big. And you go, what? We get rent control. Yeah, you get rent control. Go buy a piece of property, try to do a remod, go talk to the city, and then tell me how you feel.
Because you're doing this to your home.
Right, and I've done it.
You were wiped out.
No, I wasn't wiped out. My home is intact in Malibu. Everything around it is burnt, but my business was doing it to other people's homes.
Why did your home survive?
God loves me. You should know that, Bill.
No, really? Everything around you burned?
I would say 80% of what was around me burned. And
did you take precautions that others didn't? Did you like
wear a condom?
Wetting the roof?
No, I didn't. I
changed my roof since last year. I have a whole different roof.
I noticed
and I have a thing that goes in the pool where you
pump it.
You shoot the pool up on the roof.
No, I did nothing and just complete luck of the draw, like the hood, the SS Hood, which was a British ship, sunk blown up by the Bismarck in World War II, and 1,800 sailors went into the ground and 6 popped up. Went into the drink, and 6 sort of came up. 6 guys just floating in the ocean, and 1,800 dead. And you go, what did you do? And the answer is, I don't know. I just popped up. That was basically me in Malibu.
Yeah, I call this club random, not club fate.
Right.
Exactly. I believe in random.
Jane Fonda came on your show, and you were talking to her about regulation and overregulation and red tape. And she said to you, I don't think there's enough. And I was like, are you fucking nuts? And I realized she didn't know what was going on. Then you talked about your garage door. But the point is you got turned a little bit with your solar shack. And I said it a million times. Live in rent control, fine. Go get your own home and try to pull a permit. You'll start thinking more like me. And you try to get your solar shack permit, and that took 2 years.
2 years while I was yelling at them on the air. This is how arrogant the government is in California. This is how bad it is when one party controls any government of either party.
Right.
I was embarrassing them on the air for weeks, and still nothing happened.
Right.
Until the governor himself intervened and said, this is getting embarrassing.
Right.
And of course, it was a bunch of bullshit. None of it ever needed to happen.
Right.
It wasn't even the one that bothered me the most. The one that bothered me the most was my garage door. When I moved into this house, it had a 3 garage door. It doesn't fit 3 cars. I don't know what these cars are. It fits 3 motorcycles.
Right.
I don't live in a fucking mansion. I don't want to. I live alone, okay? I've got a wonderful house, happy to have it. No one would mistake it for lifestyles of the rich and famous. Okay, so I wanted to change my 3-car garage, wink, wink, to what it should be, a 2-car garage. This took 3 inspections. Inspections?
Right.
I'm just changing my garage. Why do you have to be involved in my life when I'm changing my garage?
Because
if it falls down on my head, that's my fault for doing it with a bad contractor.
Right. And now you get to rebuilding the Palisades in Malibu.
Right.
And it's not happening because of this.
But here's the question. The New York Post, which I always loved because it kept me connected with the city of my formative years, and now it's the California Post, and you can't get the New York Post out here. So they ruined my life because I wanted the New York Post because I grew up in New Jersey. My father commuted to New York, okay? New York sports teams, New York radio, New York television. I was a minority owner of the New York Mets. I started my stand-up career in New York, started my television career in New York. I want to know about New York. It interests me. Doesn't exist anymore. So the California Post, and they printed this interview with Trump. I did one too for the inauguration. And Trump says, well, we're going to go in and we're going to change the permitting laws. Now, he is obviously a guy who just pulls things out of his ass. I get the impetus to do this. Like, why wouldn't you want to do that? He's the guy who sees a problem anywhere, and he goes, I can fix that.
Right.
But is there any jurisdiction for the president to override local permitting laws?
I think I don't know about precedent because no one cared and it never existed. And if you're building a log cabin in 1871, there's no court case
Right.
on that. I think he can because I've heard something about it. But the point is it's a metaphor for government and the size of government. When you can't do what you want to do on your land that you own and that you pay taxes on, and you need to ask fucking permission from them to do stuff on your land,
exactly.
Then we have gone across the Rubicon. We have crossed the Rubicon. And the fact that I bought a warehouse in Glendale, California. And
just for fun?
Just for fun. And I wanted to put some cars in there and what have you. And I was building like a storage loft on it.
You have that many cars?
I have 13 Paul Newman race cars. I have all the Paul Newman race cars.
The common man, Adam Carolla, speaking for John Q. Sixpack.
Watching Roots, eating Pop-Tarts, sitting in a Newman race car.
That's it.
Keeping it real.
Keeping it real with my 13 cars. Go ahead.
So I went. They busted me and they said, you got to pull a permit, blah, blah, blah. They will walk onto your property and tell you to stop and pull a permit. And I went in to the planning commission of the city of Glendale and I said, I want to pull a permit to do some building on my warehouse. And the 25-year-old chick behind the counter goes, what are you going to do with that warehouse? That I bought, by the way. And I said, I'm going to put some cars in there. And she goes, they might let you do that. And I thought, they might let me do that with my property.
It's infuriating.
It's insane, and it's
infuriating.
Huge, and it's a California thing, and unfortunately it's a blue thing, and it's kind of a left thing.
It is.
And and they're encroaching on everything. Step back. Stop making rules. You don't rule everything.
I tell this to Gavin every time I talk to him.
Just knock it the fuck off. Just leave people alone.
And he says we're doing it, but I don't see it, to be honest.
Well, also,
he says he's doing it when I confront him with it, but I don't see it.
No, because they're there to make rules. That's why they got into power. They like it.
They like it.
What I want...
That's it. They like it.
My favorite answer from a politician is, I don't know. I'm not in charge. Ask your dad. I don't run your house.
No, and
do what you do. You want to go to the beach during COVID? Go to the beach during COVID. I'm not here to tell you not to do that.
Not to drag in more politics on this, but this is the same issue really with children. Is that parents do not want to think that anyone, including government, is above them in deciding what goes for their children. And that is not the philosophy of the state of California.
Not at all.
That is not. I mean, Democrats seem to be determined to die on this hill of trans. Again, there could be an easy grand bargain. I'd be the first one to defend trans people. It's a real thing. Not everybody who's born in the body that they were supposed to be born into, or however you want to put that. But there is a default setting for human beings. Mm-hmm. And to keep this secret from parents, the parent issue that we're talking about, like the personal life issue, the government into your personal life. It is amazing to me that Republicans can't do better in this state, because I certainly know, like, umpteen liberals, people who vote Democratic, who complain about these things, about the parent issue, about the permitting kind of issue, about the regulation issue, taxes, like so many taxes, but my road still sucks.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, but why does the state stay in this mono-party stasis?
I don't know what it is. I mean, I think there's an element of sort of fashion where we just go, oh, that's cool. There's a little Emperor's New Clothes. I mean, I definitely felt it with COVID. People acted like they didn't really believe in COVID. I mean, in the sense that people had a mask on, but it was around their chin. What I'm saying is you should wear a helmet when you're riding a motorcycle, because there's a real danger you could be concussed or worse riding a motorcycle.
Even Gary Busey.
Even Gary Busey. And I've never seen anyone riding a motorcycle with the helmet under their arm. You know what I mean? Because they understand it's a real danger and they could be hurt.
Right.
But I saw people with masks around their nutsack and their chin and over their head and stuff. And it's like they were trying to get along. And people in California, I've realized, get so caught up in this sort of fashion of things that they just want to get along, and they don't want to get into trouble, and they don't want to get yelled at.
You're so right.
And they don't want to, they want to be a nail that a hammer's going to find. So they go, no, Gavin Newsom's great. No, Karen Bass is great. No, put the mask on. No, get the jab. No, for sure. No, the border. No, race. No one's illegal. No one's all people are legal. Everything is love. Science is science. So we're down with everything. Could you please leave me the fuck alone so I could go home and eat my Pop-Tarts and watch reruns of Roots?
I'll just sign your petition outside of Whole Foods.
Right.
Just let me get
outside of Irwan.
Let me get in my car.
I bought a smoothie for $41. I'll sign your shit. I just want to get to the Prius.
For $41, I'll sign your thing that says, I hate privilege.
Right, I hate privilege.
Now, excuse me, I've got a castle to buy in Ireland.
Right.
To escape privilege.
That's right. Right. And a tea time to make.
So great to have you.
Always great.
I mean, what can I say? That was more fun than you can have with your pants on. Of course, I'm 70 now, so it's not such a big brag.
Forgot about that, but that's amazing, Bill.
I know.
You look great, and I will say this too. And,
well, I exist.
No, I'm not just doing this for you, but you're getting sharper and keener and faster and more lucid, and the clarity and the truth.
No.
And I think there's a part, I'm not trying to extend another 7 minutes, but I think there's a part of getting older where you go, I can fucking tell the truth.
Yeah,
like you have FU money, which is better than F me money, which means you can say whatever the fuck you want.
I sure don't have to give $19,000 to a bunch of brats.
Two, but yeah, I get it. You know how many Pop-Tarts that buys? But I appreciate you, and 70's incredible.
I appreciate everything you do.
It's weird to be at the top of your game at 70.
Well, you know what is the ultimate tragedy of life, I think, is that you spend an entire lifetime working on this thing that's inside your skull, like gathering information, adding new information, experiences, everything you read, everything that makes you smarter, kinder, better, more aware, more able to make great decisions as opposed to stupid decisions. Right. All that goes into this thing. And then because this thing gives out, you throw it in the trash with it.
Right.
It just seems crazy. It seems, I could see getting rid of the body.
Right.
But they should have some way of saying, of doing a preservation of this thing inside the skull that put all this years and time and effort to gathering all this. And you might say, well, you can pass it on. You can pass on like 10%.
Yeah. No, I agree.
You have to
I agree.
learn your own shit. Everybody does. And so it's just such a waste. So
basically,
I'm hoping
Bill,
AI.
you're essentially saying you're a Ming vase on top of a pedestal that's crumbling, and you're going to crash to the ground.
Exactly.
Well, that's a good note to go out on.
Yeah, and the Ming is really what you want to save.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, thank you. Great to see you, pal.
Good to see you, pal.
Well,
That was fun.
Top that.
Club Random.